Good morning and welcome along to the BBC Sports Centre here in Salford on a poignant day in Manchester as we remember, reflect and look back and celebrate the life of Ricky Hatton. Coming up, we'll be live along the memorial route outside Manchester Cathedral and we'll reflect on Hatton's career and life inside and outside the ring with those who knew him best. But first, here's Joe Linsky with a look back at the legacy of the People's Champion.
From Manchester, England, Ricky Hatton.
Wherever Ricky Hatton boxed, he was followed by the people. Tens of thousands went with him to fights around the world. Today in his city, they'll follow him again. Hatton's funeral procession starts at 9:45 this morning. The route to Manchester Cathedral sets off from G Cross in Hyde. This was Hatton's home and where he stayed to make a difference. He built a gym for this community. The route will pause there to reflect.
People are coming to put flowers down outside the gym and his house, and you can just see how it's hit the town. It's hit people hard. He was like the hero of Hyde. The mad thing was, to the levels he reached in boxing and like celebrity life, he still knew everyone on a personal level around this town.
Growing up, Hatton's family built a boxing ring in a pub cellar. When the route goes past there, they'll release doves in his memory. The procession then moves to the Manchester Arena, where Hatton's fights shaped the weekends of the city. Oscar De La Hoya was part of that era. He too was a world champion. He was also Ricky's friend.
When I was promoting Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton, so I'm talking to the president at the time of the MGM, and he tells me, Oscar, no more Ricky Hatton fights here, please. I go, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean no more Ricky Hatton fights? Yeah, first of all, we ran out of beer. Those are the legions of fans that Ricky drove wherever he went.
The inquest into Hatton's death is yet to take place. He was found in his home on the 14th of September. He was aged 46. A foundation has been set up in his name to raise mental health awareness. 1,300 people will attend today's service, and afterwards at the Etihad they'll gather one last time. This was his club and Manchester was his city. Today, Ricky Hatton's people will follow their champion.
You, me loyal fans, deserve it as much as me. We did it together tonight.
Joe Linsky, BBC News.
A remarkable man in so many ways, as you will hear over the next few hours. So the memorial procession is due to begin at 9:45 in a couple of minutes in G Cross. It'll pass the places and the pubs where he was so loved, the gyms he created and trained in, the arena he ignited, and at Manchester Cathedral, where a memorial service will take place at midday. After that, at around about 1:30, the cortege will pass the Etihad Stadium for one last time. Hatton, an ardent Manchester City fan, Blue Moon, the soundtrack to many a ring walk, one of the few men who could unite the red and blue halves of this city. Well, our reporter Adi Adedoyan is here. And Adi, of all of the tributes that have flooded in, I think maybe Steve Bunce described him best. He said maybe he wasn't the best British boxer of all time, although he certainly came close, but was definitely the most popular.
Yeah, I think Joe Linsky summed it up well in that VT when he called him the People's Champion. A good boxer, 45 fights, 45 wins, only 3 losses, 2 of those losses against 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters of all time in Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So no disgrace in that, but it's his legacy outside the ring. I mean, when he fought Mayweather, 30,000 people went to Vegas. You saw in that VT that Joe Linsky made, they ran out of beer because they celebrated Ricky Hatton. I've heard stories of people on the plane just continuously chanting, there's only one Ricky Hatton. And that's the thing that he always said. He said, you know, being a world champion is one thing, being famous is one thing, but he never wanted to lose touch of where he came from. And he always wanted to make people remember that everybody who comes to support him, he's just like them.
Yeah, well, we also have Hugh Ferris live outside Manchester Cathedral for us right now. And Hugh, it's a sad day for the city as a whole as well.
Yes, hello to you, Ben. Hello, Addy. What you're going to see, I think, today is a reflection of just what Ricky Hatton meant to the boxing world. There will be the great and the good of the sport here at Manchester Cathedral, no doubt, a little bit later on. But lining the route of the procession that cortege takes over the course of the next hour and a half, 2 hours, you will see that he meant so much to this city of Manchester. There are a few people over the decades that you can immediately associate with this city. And I think in the early 2000s, really the first 10 years of this decade, it was Ricky Hatton who was Manchester. He took Manchester with him, as Addy was saying, to Las Vegas. There are so many people who, many have said over the course of the last 3 weeks or so since his passing, that you just met him and then you became his friend. That is the sense that many of the people who you will see lining the route, and many of the people who will be able to attend this memorial here at the cathedral, will be wanting to reflect upon and celebrate. Rarely do you get the kind of the person who is able to not only lead a lot of fans in some sort of sporting journey. They can enjoy that with their football teams, they can enjoy that with their national teams, they can enjoy that in individual and team sports. But what Ricky Hatton did singularly, it would appear over the course, particularly of those 5 years, from 2004, 2005 through to 2009. He was able to, as Addy and Ben said, unite red half and blue half in Manchester, but he was able to take Manchester to the world, sometimes quite literally. But what I think we'll see is a celebration of his connection with not just the city, but also the people of the city, because I imagine we'll see many of them along the route this morning.
Hugh, we're also already seeing many people gathering along the side of the roads around Hattersley and around Hyde, where he grew up and where he lived as well, even though the cortege is still about half an hour to an hour away from some of those locations. And it's that sense of pride that he had in Manchester that endeared himself to so many of the people in this city, isn't it?
Yeah, and he stayed true to those people, Ben. He was friends with them right until the very end. We will hear from some of those friends who grew up on the Hattersley estate with him. He lived until the day he died in G Cross, which is where the procession will start, just round the corner from the Cheshire Cheese pub, where its official start is, on a rather grand house on Bowlaker Road, which had a very proud Manchester City flag in its forecourt. And from there, yes, it was a nice house. It was a big house. He earned millions of pounds. But just around the corner, yes, the Cheshire Cheese, one of those pubs that he frequented a great deal. It was one of his locals, and he essentially was a local boy done good. He did not move very far from where he grew up at any point during his life, regardless of the amount of success that he achieved. He was a 2-weight world champion. He was a huge star in the boxing game. He was a huge star in the city of Manchester, but very rarely did his footprint go beyond G Cross, Hattersley, Hyde, Denton, where he trained at the Better Bodies gym. All of this in a very small area that he didn't ever leave and he enjoyed being a part of. And frankly, Ben, he wanted to stay connected with. And those friends that grew up with him, not famous, stayed his friends when he became famous. And they very much enjoyed the fact that he was always there for them, and he very much did not change. And that, I think, will be one of the things that we hear a lot about over the coming hours.
We're just seeing pictures outside the Cheshire Cheese pub right now, where the procession is due to get underway very, very shortly. Just want to read to you a quote from Tony Cooper, who's the landlord of that Cheshire Cheese pub. He said, "Ricky was our friend. To many in the world, he was a legend, a hero, a world champion, a celebrity. But to us, he was Rick, the guy after dancing on ice that did his press commitments, then turned up in roller skates and went round the pub. And he was a guy who would just go down to the local and buy around for the people there. He really stayed grounded throughout all of this and never took himself too seriously."
Yeah, bought more than the round. I think if you hear the stories of, if you're on a night out with Ricky Hatton, he would look after you, that's for sure. Yes, the Cheshire Cheese, and we'll see the Dove release at where the New Inn pub used to be. That was the pub where he started his boxing journey. It was one of the pubs owned by his parents, Ray and Carol, and he started in the basement. They converted it into a gym so that he could try out on the pads for the very first time. The day after he beat Costas Hugh, he was there in his famous Hawaiian shirt, his ugly shirt days that he would celebrate wins in the boxing ring. He would go out with his friends at his local pubs and he would wear a garish shirt. Sometimes he would go to Tenerife. He spent a lot of time on holiday in Tenerife and they would wear their garish shirts. Yes, grounded. Yes, he had the means tends to be able to give everybody a good time. He would buy them drinks, he would buy rounds for the pub if you were in there with him. But also I think one of the things, again, that you'll hear is that there was, even though there was a sense of fun and enjoyment with him, the bond with that local community and with his friends was particularly strong. Yes, because of the things that he was able to do and his generosity, but because he was one of them. And on Monday night, when Ricky would have been 47, Monday night just gone, a group of his friends went to the Cheshire Cheese as one of 3 local pubs, and they raised a glass for Ricky Hatton to celebrate what would have been his 47th birthday, because they felt that that was the best way of reflecting a very sad day for them, but a day that would have been celebrated, I imagine, were he still with us, in exactly the same way.
And Hugh, just on this day as much as anything as well, on World Mental Health Day, the thing that maybe endeared himself to many people as well was his openness and his candour when talking around his struggles with addiction and his own mental health as well. How important was that to his identity and his sense of worth after he retired?
Well, I think we'll hear a lot over the course of the next few hours about how difficult it was for him, particularly after that Floyd Mayweather defeat in 2007 in Las Vegas. He was unbeaten up until that point. The fight was billed undefeated. It was him on 43 fights at the time, I think, all victories, and Floyd Mayweather 38 fights at that point, and it was billed as the 2 greatest undefeated fighters in that division, and they fought and he lost, and he felt lost because of it. It was their increasing sense of the burden of letting his fans down. He felt that they didn't feel that way, but that was how he said he felt about how difficult it was to come to terms with the fact that he had led this Hatton army, this Mancunian invasion of Las Vegas, and clearly, when he was here fighting just round the corner at the Manchester Arena, he would do the same. More than 20,000 people watched his fight against Costas Hugh, and he felt suddenly what had been a wave upon which he had rode, now suddenly that felt like a burden, and it became very difficult. We have heard many fighters say, and particularly Josh Taylor, who was a unanimous world champion just in his 18th fight, and getting to that success early in his life, he then felt it very difficult. Ricky Hatton was his hero, and he felt an understanding of what Ricky Hatton had gone through when he too eventually lost, and found it very difficult to recapture that feeling. So yes, there was a void, and I think into that void sometimes darkness comes, and Ricky Hatton was very able, certainly latterly, to articulate that, and I think there are a lot of people have felt a kinship with him, whether they were fighters or not, and that's, yes,